It's such a beautiful day in Chicago. Let's play 2. Yeah, the rain did us in last night, but that means more baseball to watch and talk about today. Plus, that means the next debut of Jack Leiter. We're going to talk all about that and talk about what Jacob deGrom did last night. It's the Rangers DLLS podcast. It's coming your way right now. Baseball. And I am John Radigan with Abby Jones and Jeff Wilson. And we thought we would come out and do our podcast today with the first time that we've had a chance to actually talk about a game. Ha! Mother Nature had different ideas for us, Abby.
Man, it has been, has it really not been a Rangers game
We haven't talked about a game yet.
Wow, that is blowing my mind.
Right.
Feels like we've been here forever, but hopefully we get to do that today. But I don't know, Jeff, did you have a good off day?
I guess. I don't really remember doing anything special.
Yeah, I didn't do anything special. I heard a Mr. John Radigan got to be a part of something pretty cool. This guy won an Emmy last night, you guys.
He went into the Hall of Fame. He didn't just win an Emmy. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Basically, the Hall of Fame. Don't stare too long at this.
All right,
look at this. Look at this.
Show
thing.
us the gold,
this
baby.
This is heavy. I mean, it's a medal that honors me as a Silver Circle Award inductee. Like Jeff says, it is the equivalent to the Hall of Fame for television people. And so
silver is 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, maybe you get the gold. What's the gold?
Think I can. It's only. Really? I mean, they dragged their feet on getting me the 25 -year award.
So
I've been here for over 30. I've been here for almost 35. So I'm like only 50 years.
There's some nice pictures. Oh, man,
Hey,
John Blake honored also.
there.
Yeah, I'll say, so look at there. John Blake got the President's Award, and like he and I really didn't know that the other was going to be honored. And so I got to celebrate a little bit with John Blake, my wife Kathy in the middle, the real superstar of our family. And I love that picture on the left. You know, I had a John Radigan table,
of course,
and there's the sort of the Emmy logo in there. It's really fun. We got to show a video, which we can't really get onto this format, but from me as far back as 1989.
Wow!
And I looked really young. And in I'm going to say in '92, Abby, I had bigger hair than you. I mean, not longer, but big.
Well,
I mean, it was
I will
big.
Need photos of that.
Yeah, we'll bring
Definitely.
some photos.
Who
of
all
that,
was at your table?
So I had my family, my son Cal and his girl Cassie, and my daughter McKenna and her husband Tom. And then I had Nui Scruggs and his family. And Nui, my good friend Nui, was the one who nominated me for this award. And then it's a more rigorous process than I thought. Yeah. And I know. I was blessed. I was fortunate enough. Nui and I have been, texting back and forth all morning. It's, what we do, you guys too, what we do for a living is a blessing. I mean, it really is.
It is.
And I used to always tell people, they'd say, what's it like being a sportscaster? And I'd be like, man, it beats working for a living.
Yeah.
And I'd said that a lot. And my wife would go, for a guy who doesn't work for a living, you're sure gone a lot,
Yeah,
So
it's true.
Here's the distinction. When we go to work, we don't feel like we're working. But we, of course, acknowledge that we aren't home a lot.
Yeah.
Our job is no remote on our job for the most part. Our job requires us to be at the game, to be at the stadium, to be in, as that tape they showed of my history of my career shows. I was in Tokyo with the Cowboys.
Wow.
I was in Sydney with, covering the Olympics in 2000. Each of those were part of a month away from home.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's not, that part of it is not easy on the family, which is why my wife, I honored her as the superstar of our family.
Moms, moms are the glue that hold it all together. Yeah. Moms are the reason you can do what you want to do. They're locking down the house. Shout out to my mom. I know she's watching.
Yeah, I'm getting a taste of that this week as my wife is on a road trip.
Yeah.
And my daughter had a tonsillectomy this morning.
Oh my!
Bright and early at 7.
Jeff,
and so she said she was going to watch, and I said I'd say hi to Molly. So hi, Molly. Her grandmother, my wife's mom, my mother-in-law is there watching her while I'm doing this, and I'm going to race home and make sure Molly has all the ice cream she can eat.
Yes.
So
anyway. Can I get a part of the ice cream order too?
Sure. We got little cups. We got strawberry cheesecake bars. We've got a lot of
nice. Stuff. Oh man, those are my favorite. Those strawberry cheesecake bars.
Well, apparently they're Molly's favorites because she's already knocked down a couple.
Love you, Molly, and good luck on the recovery, Molly. And my daughter had her tonsil. Molly's 9. You said
9. Yeah.
My daughter McKenna, who's now with child and married, but she had hers out at 12, and it's not an easy process.
No, but the younger you are, the better. Yeah. And Molly's already being a trooper here, so
good.
Good for her.
Good for her.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Do you guys love our new set? I mean, look at this.
This is
place.
cool.
I do like it. Cool. I like the background. Yeah. I like the desk too. I kind of like the desk. I mean,
well, the desk makes these a little easier.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and
I love this brick wall. I mean, this
this looks
that
good.
is great background.
Yeah, the ladies are getting to look at our legs, John. So
yeah,
I don't know,
look at there.
So
sorry about that.
All right, and chat. If you guys are listening along today, be sure to subscribe. Number 1, like our page, follow, and be a part of the conversation. We want to hear what you guys have to say. We have hot topics today because it's a heavy season for the Rangers, but we're making it look a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
See what we did
took me
there?
a minute. It took me a minute. I'm not gonna lie to get that one, but I do.
Well,
get
you
it.
have to see it. If you just hear it, you're like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah, exactly.
What does that mean? Night game to day game?
My Leiter, Leiter, Jack Leiter, who's starting game 2 of the doubleheader tonight. You know, the veteran always gets the choice of which game he wants to take, and usually they want to take the later game.
Yeah.
But I guess Andrew Heaney wants to get this one over with, and. So anyway, 4:00 is when this doubleheader starts. A phantom rainstorm apparently moved over Chicago, and 4 pitches in.
4.
It's ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous rain out I've ever seen because, I mean, I think Chicago had control of saying whether or not we want to play the game. And then once the game begins, of course, it's in the hands of the umpires.
Right.
So why would the White Sox let this game be played knowing what kind of weather was coming in? You know who the only team that got penalized? The White Sox.
Yeah.
They had their ace pitcher, in Garrett Crochet scheduled to pitch, and he threw 4 pitches, and because he's coming off of an injury, they just don't want to send him back out there today. Because of course, there's a lot of warming up in the bullpen to get ready to throw those 4 pitches. So too much time and effort for him to pitch again today.
Yeah, and if he were a veteran like Andrew Heaney, he probably would start.
You would. That's what.
You know, Michael Lorenzen did it. Like right the day before he got traded. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
He started on the Saturday, got bombed, threw 40 pitches, then came in relief on Sunday, and kind of went out a hero because what he did was so important for the team. But veteran guys do that. Young guys who are coming off of injury and who look like they're going to be all-stars. Crochet was an all-star, but look like they're going to be really good pitchers for years to come. Don't get that luxury. So, so they're going to throw up what Chris Flexen's moving up a day. They'll figure out the rest as
TBD.
they go, kind of like they've been doing the whole year. Their season's TBD. And then the Rangers, though, Leiter, this is a big deal. You know, Natalie just asked the question: are his strikeouts that he's been piling up in AAA going to translate to the major leagues? And they need to, because if you look at his first 2 starts, he's made 3. The first 2. His pitch counts got up because he was unable to put away guys. They would foul off a bunch of balls, keep at bats alive. That wears him down. It wears down the defense, the longer innings. And you saw some defensive miscues in those games. I'm not making any excuses, but there's a rhythm to fielding, just like there is pitching and like there is hitting. So if Jack can work fast, the pitch clock's not an issue for minor league guys. But if what he's shown the last 2 starts, 11 strikeouts and 9 strikeouts, commanding the strike zone, throwing quality strikes in the strike zone. If he can do that and get outs when he gets 2 strikes, get that guy back in the dugout, it's going to be a good start for him. But that's the key. That's the thing that held him back the first 2 starts. The third one was just a disaster. We won't even talk about it.
Yeah.
But he looks like he's ready to go. And he's had, like we said, the last 2 days, great AAA season for him. It's time for him to go.
Yeah. And we want you to be a part of this conversation. As Natalie was a little earlier, send us a note. Let us know what you think about the show. Like, subscribe, please. That's what we need. That's what we want. That's what we ask you to do because, we're new here. DLLS Rangers podcast. Our whole group is new, and we're thrilled to be here talking sports 5 days a week with you on DLLS. So, jump on. Be a part of the conversation. We'll call you out. We'll say your name, and we really want to hear exactly what you have to say. With regard to those rain delays, first of all, the Rangers have had some of the weirdest rain delay circumstances in history. It seems to me most of them have typically happened in Baltimore. I know way back in the day, that was the one where the train derailed, and there was some toxic fumes floating into the ballpark. Right. But I've been a part of a couple of different rain delays in Baltimore, and weird stuff always happens in Baltimore. Weird stuff happened in Chicago last night, but maybe none weirder than in 2011, Jeff, in the World Series.
Well, it's definitely the most significant rainout in Rangers history, and the thing is, it didn't even rain. The rain was in the forecast in St. Louis for Game 6, and Bud Selig called for the game to be called off. The commissioner makes that call ultimately, so we were there. The Rangers had just won Games 4 and 5, and completely had all the momentum in the world. They really did. You had the travel day, then you go into Game 6. You're thinking you're going to play. And the forecast looked crappy, whatever it was, and so they bagged the game, and it did not rain a drop. It did not rain a drop at Busch Stadium. They come back the next night. Everybody knows what happens in Game 6. So the Rangers still have a chance in Game 7, but that allowed St. Louis to bring back Chris Carpenter. It was still short rest, but it wasn't as short as it. He would not have pitched Game 6 or Game 7 had it been on schedule, had they gotten to that point. So that day off was just a pivotal thing. It killed some Rangers momentum. It might have made them think a little bit longer about, hey, we're 1 day away. Now we got to wait, and a little built up the anticipation. I don't know. I mean, they were in a position to win the game, obviously, but nevertheless, that's the big one. That's it. That's the biggest one.
They don't get worse than that.
They don't.
And you may see Andrew Heaney on a little bit of a pitch count today, just because he did full swing, get ready for a game. Sure. So that's definitely a possibility. But the biggest thing I'm taking away is Jack Leiter. And, we are going to talk about his 3 starts, and we all know what happened there. But this is a guy that he's been really confident in the minor league level. You don't want him to get into his head. So for him, it's almost like this is a guy that you don't want to give any extra time so that he can think about anything. He can just go out there, play his game, deliver his pitches like he does. So, it's going to be interesting to see how Jack Leiter deals with the extra time here. Andrew Heaney's going to adjust with maybe a pitch count that we're keeping an eye on. But it's, momentum's probably the biggest thing, and then the mental game as well.
Yeah, and even if they go short, you have the opportunity to call up a 27th man for a doubleheader. It's always a pitcher.
Yeah,
always a pitcher.
Always.
I don't think the Rangers have announced yet who it is. The clubhouse is probably open right now, but how the Rangers are with transactions.
Yeah. Might take a minute.
And honestly, if they didn't find out till last night, the guy's got to fly in. They need to make sure he lands and gets to town and all that stuff. So they might be waiting on that. But while Jack is pitching in Chicago, Kumar Rocker is going to be pitching in Round Rock. And Aaron just asked a question, why not bring up Kumar Rocker for September, put him in the rotation, give him a taste. I got a couple of thoughts on that. First, though, Kumar was great at Frisco, 0.46 ERA. I think we showed that graphic earlier this week. And, just toying with guys. Just dominating them, and pushing them around.
Let's save that Kumar talk.
Oh, we'll save Kumar
it for
talk
the very next segment, because we want to talk about him, dive more into Leiter. We have to talk about Jacob deGrom's second rehab start. There's lots of pitching to talk, and we definitely will get to the question about Kumar Rocker. Also, I love BC's comment when you were talking about 2011. BC chimes in and says, 2011, the one that got away, ... You know why you can say that? because they won in 2023. Like prior to 2023, there was nobody calm.
That's true.
There you go, BC. Thank you. There was nobody calm about that and prior to last year, but now they won.
That's very true.
It's like you got
Like I guess if we'd done this last year, it would have been like 2011 and a bunch of cuss words.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But now it's much more mellow.
Yeah.
But yeah, still the one that got away. 2012 is still the one that gets me. I mean I obviously I saw it all.
Yeah.
I saw 11. I know what happened. 12, the Rangers were so good.
They were the best team in baseball.
So good.
By far.
They were so much better. And, the thing that gets lost in that is, I think, Colby Lewis got hurt right after the All-Star break. And that spot in the rotation did not win a game. The starter who filled that spot did not win a game the rest of the season. So, you can go back and say, oh, they collapsed. Josh Hamilton lost the ball in the sun at Oakland, blah blah blah. But that not having Scott Feldman was mostly the guy that filled in there, and he for whatever reason they just didn't win a game. Ryan Dempster trade didn't work out. But gosh, what a good team that was.
Yeah, it was a great team. More pitching talk coming up here in just a minute on the DLLS Rangers podcast. But now we want to remind you that your place for fantasy sports is Sleeper. Yes, it's a great place to go. Now, of course, you've always known of Sleeper as a great place for fantasy sports. There's so much more available on Sleeper right now because you can place bets on so many different things. For example, will Andrew Heaney go more than 3 or 4 innings? You can place a bet on that. Will Jack Leiter do the same? You can place a bet on that. Heaney's strikeout total for today. There's a over/under on that you can bet on. These are all things that you can. Will Corey Seager reach 200 home runs by a certain date, right? I mean, these are all things that you have an opportunity to bet on. So I think it's a very new and fun, really, way to keep you engaged in your favorite team, even if your favorite team isn't, going to be in the postseason or that type of thing. There's a lot of things you can have fun with if you go to Sleeper. And we want to remind you that the Sleeper code for this show is DLLS Rangers. That's the show code. You can get $100 match for your first deposit. So up to 100. So anything up to 100, Sleeper will match for you. Put in 50, it becomes 100. Put in 100, it becomes 2. We love Sleeper. We got to get into a fantasy league and start placing some of these bets too. But
we're gonna make Jeff do it.
Why?
Because
I'm not good at this stuff.
You have to play fantasy
maybe
football.
why.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, all right. I'll look into it.
You do fantasy baseball, which is
I
so
do.
much worse.
It's harder. Yeah, hard.
I mean,
that's a lot of work.
Yeah, that's
really
your full-time job.
Let's take a look at those Rockridge Johnsons. I think we're in 5th place.
Well, while you're looking at that, I don't know. Have you guys ever had a good night with the boys or on the golf course, and maybe
lots of times.
Maybe you woke up next day not really feeling your best.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't, but I've heard that they have a #1 pre-drinking product, and it is called Z-Biotics.
Okay.
And it is just a new thing. It's the pre-alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. Probiotics are big these days.
They are.
Everyone's into the pre, the pro. Not sure the difference between pre-pro. I bet they'll know. It was invented by a PhD scientist to tackle the rough mornings after a fun night out. And here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. In this byproduct, you're not dehydrated, and, a lot of things pulled out. So that's why you have a rough day the next day.
Yeah.
So pre-alcohol procedures break down this probiotic, and you can just take a Z-Biotic to, enjoy your night and not have to pay in the morning.
I'm not going to lie to you. Wouldn't have killed me to have a Z-Biotic before last night.
Yeah.
I mean, once they hung this around my neck, all bets were off.
Champion season.
Give your speech, and then it was, let's go to the bar.
And they were, my son and everybody going, Dad, no, I'm going to speak first, and then we'll be all over it.
And they say weddings and birthdays, but in sports, I mean, there's World Series parades, there's big games, there's the Rangers
and the reality
lose
is
3 games in a row.
We as sports writers, broadcasters, if we're going to have a drink or two, we usually start after the game. And the later you start, the harder it is to wake up. So make your first drink Z-Biotics.
I remember real quick last in October after Game 5 of the World Series, or Game 4, Rangers go up 3-1. I asked Nathaniel, so what are you guys going to do to get ready? He goes, hydrate. So he could have used some Z-Biotics. He knew something good was coming.
Yeah.
And so there you go.
Well, go to zbiotics.com and insert DLLS Rangers. You're going to get 15% off on your first order when you use code DLLS Rangers at checkout. Pre-alcohol is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they refund you your money, no questions asked. Remember, head to zbiotics.com/DLLS Rangers. Use the code DLLS Rangers for 15% off. Thank you, Z-Biotics, for sponsoring this episode and a good time.
No doubt about that. We appreciate the good time and the sponsorship. And it is time to dive more into this pitching right now. And I know...
Hope it's a good time.
Yeah, it has to be. They got to use 2 pitchers today, and they'll use plenty more than that, obviously, because they're going to be going into the bullpen.
Well, yeah, right now it just screws everything up because they don't have an off day.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to call up somebody to pitch Sunday's game. So it's a mess.
Their next off day is September 9th, I think.
Wow.
They've got
somewhere in there.
They've got a stretch.
They've got a big long homestand, longest homestand of the year, but that it just screws up the whole thing.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
The whole thing screwed up. It's one of the reasons that let's start this conversation with Jack Leiter, and we talked a little bit about him in the last segment. But it's one of the reasons we all want to see him stay up, Abby. He needs to stay up
and succeed. I do want to point out he met with media last night, and I thought he had a pretty interesting quote because, first of all, can we show this graphic of his first 3 MLB starts? All of these numbers are combined. 16.93 ERA.
3.9.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
ERA. 17 earned runs, 16 hits, 6 walks, 9 2/3 innings. I mean, it's tough. No way around it.
Sure. I mean, he's not going deep into games.
Right.
Yeah, that's the pitch count piling up. I mean, like we talked about, that third start was an abomination. I think he got 4 outs, maybe 5.
Yeah.
Just could not throw a strike. But, and as we've talked about this week, there's huge expectations on him.
Huge.
But also, it's new to him.
Yes. It is. But I want to share
his
sentiments because he said, and this is important, I think it's just the sum parts of a lot of little things. I think it comes down to the way that you compete, and I hope to carry all of those little things over to big league success, which we've been saying. Anytime you get an opportunity, it's awesome, and you want to take it and run with it. There comes a time that you have to shift from developing to getting the results and having success. Making that transition is not always black and white, this or that, and it's kind of the learning curve. So that Leiter knows the pressure. He was really hard on himself his last start. There's no in between from minor leagues to major leagues. There's no AAA and a half. They're MILLO.
No 4A.
Yeah.
Although we say some guys are 4A players, but
you either play in the big leagues or you don't. You don't know who you're going to get that day. You may have to deliver your stuff to Aaron Judge or another guy that just got called up making his debut. So either way, it's the major leagues now. Those excuses and reasons can't really come into play because you're either a major league player or you're not.
Yeah. But there is patience involved.
Patience, for sure.
The Rangers know that. They knew that with Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter. These guys are going to have their lumps. It's going to get rocky. But you do hope for more success from them. Natalie had just asked a question: Is Leiter going to remain a starter in the majors or a reliever? I think the verdict is still out on that. I think that they would want him to be long term. She said this year. I think this year he should stay a starter. I think if Max Scherzer is not going to pitch, Jack Leiter should pitch in that spot. Long term, I would think that it's the verdict's still out. There's a lot of effort in his delivery. He would be great as a reliever. I mean, his fastball slider combination when it's good
is ridiculous.
Yeah, it could be really good. It could be wipeout stuff. With the second overall pick in the draft, though, you really hope it's not a 8th inning guy. You don't
want a 7th, 8th inning guy. Yeah.
You'll take a number 4 starter.
Yes.
Obviously, you want it more than that, but you'd like a starter. If not a starter, then a closer. I don't know, but we still have to wait and see on that. I think there are scouts that are teetering either way. I know the Rangers still have faith in him. Chris Young. I really think this is Chris Young's pick.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, it was his first draft. He'd been hired 7 months earlier.
Yeah, JD was still here, but
he really leaned into this one. Visited with Al and the mom, and was really kind of instrumental in getting the deal done. And you know, there's some talk about Boston and what were the Pirates going to do and all this stuff, but I think once the Pirates went cheap with the catcher Davis from Louisville, that the Rangers weren't going to let it go.
No,
they just weren't going to let it go. And and Kumar Rocker was in that draft too. You know, he coming off the shoulder injury, he slipped to 10. The Mets found an injury.
Yep.
All right, and now the next year the Rangers got both of them. They got back-to-back aces from Vanderbilt, and like I was saying in the first segment, Jack is pitching on the south side. Kumar's way down south, though north of Austin in Round Rock, and debuting tonight. And the question that Aaron brought up was, should Kumar Rocker go to the major leagues this year?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
I think that keep in mind he's coming off of Tommy John surgery last year. He's being built up. They're trying to be responsible about this. I think he's the kind of guy, and he's been so dominant. I don't think, and just his personality, I don't think he needs to taste the major leagues this year. When he gets on the mound, he owns it.
He's an animal.
He's not intimidated. He's the one doing the intimidating. He's big and strong, throws hard. But also, he doesn't need to go on the 40-man roster. And right now, the 40-man is a disaster. It's been a disaster all year. You're getting to the point now where you're going to have to start, if you want to keep calling these guys up, you're going to, have to 60-day a guy. So Max Scherzer.
Max Scherzer's a candidate.
That could happen to him. Yeah. Or you have to put a guy on waivers. And, the Rangers do have a couple more days if they want to do that. Get rid of a veteran, make sure he's playoff eligible, try to give him a chance to latch on somewhere. But with 3 days really until that deadline, it doesn't look good. So I don't know if you would just keep, if you don't just want to wave goodbye to those guys. You want to treat them right. And so I think he stays at AAA. The AAA season pretty much goes as long as the major league season
nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he can pitch into late September.
Yep.
And then go into his normal off season, come back ready for spring training, and then see what happens. Obviously, he'll be invited to spring training. There's no question about it. And depending on what they do, I would imagine he would be a candidate to be in the rotation.
No doubt.
So, I think they're pushing the gas. Honestly, I don't know if they thought he would go to AAA this year, but he's there, and let's just.
I think Bochy had confidence it would happen.
Let him go there. You talk to these rehab guys. It's like, well, where's he going to go when he's healthy? Oh, maybe probably Hickory. Well, he was so good. They were so confident. Like, all right, we're going to do Frisco, and so I think that might have surprised a couple people because he'd been on the Hickory roster, the Hickory injury list the whole season. That's fine. And I mean, they were right. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Not only did he go to Frisco, right? He dominated. He bullied people in Frisco. So it's a good thing he wasn't at Hickory. Can you imagine what he'd have done to those kids?
The definition of bully ball.
Yeah, there's the graphic. Just ridiculous. Zach Bigley, who does the radio for them, he's their PR guy at Frisco. I said, all right, so what do you got on Rocker? He said, he's the best minor league pitcher I've ever seen. And Zach's seen
been
some
around.
things. Yeah. Zach said the previous was Walker Buehler. Well, Walker Buehler's pretty good.
Yeah.
And he said Kumar's just it's just not even close.
Amazing.
So looking forward to that one tonight. We'll have our eyes in two different spots.
Yes.
And
two different spots.
Just looking forward to it.
3 different games. Yeah. And then to carry that one step further to our point about needing about Leiter needing to stay up here, and it's not just for the physical, Abby, but we were talking about this too. That mental, those mind vitamins. That's what Razor on our hockey show calls these little nuggets you put. That's a Mike Maddox thing too. Mike Maddox has mind vitamins like
best
you can't believe.
Best in the game at it. Yeah.
But the best vitamin that Mike has is he wants these guys to figure it out on their own too. Get the voices out of your head. Zero in on one voice or 2 voices. I know Jack's always going to have his dad's voice,
of course.
But Mike Maddox is a pretty good voice, and
no doubt.
keep it simple. Best pitch in the major leagues is a fastball at the knees on the outside corner. That's Mike Maddox's belief. Worked out pretty well for him and his brother. really well for his brother.
Really.
Yeah.
And that's where Jacob DeGrom lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And DeGrom last night pitched in Round Rock, 2 perfect innings, 24 pitches. He went to the bullpen to finish off his pitch count. The next step is TBA, but, all right, the Rangers need a starter for Sunday.
They do.
DeGrom would be ready on Sunday. I don't know if they want to let him finish his rehab here. I think the door's open for that. He's only thrown 40 pitches. He's only thrown 3 innings, so you're going to have to load up on a reliever anyway. But, hey, if you need a starter.
So we were talking about this earlier because his velo's there. His command is there. So the only thing left really is endurance.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, and if they say, all right, you're starting for us, 2 innings. You know, they can do that. They can bring it back. They can maybe push 3. You know, he's had 3 ups, as they call it, where you rest between, you know, simulated innings and get up and go again. Maybe they push him to that because he's done 2 twice now. But, you know, it's different in the majors.
It is.
It's different, a different kind of adrenaline. There's 3 decks instead of 1 deck. The guys in the lineup are all-stars and good players. So maybe, you know, it's the A's on Sunday and not the Yankees. So maybe,
that'd be a
maybe if
opponent.
you don't want to start him against the Yankees because the New York media will be up his butt. And that's and another point, if he doesn't start, if they say, all right, you're staying on rehab, no problem. The Sunday he'd have to pitch because Mondays are off days in the minor leagues throughout minor league baseball. So then he wouldn't pitch again until Tuesday.
Yeah.
So you don't, I don't know, maybe they want to build in that rest. Okay. But, you know, he looked pretty good on normal rest last night.
Yeah, and when you're Jacob DeGrom, you get a little bit more say too, right?
Yeah.
And it felt to me, just watching him last night, it felt like he was saying to everybody as he left that game and went to the bullpen to finish out his pitch count, I'm ready. I don't know, there was a air about him that I don't think we even saw after the first rehab start.
He's said it from day one. He's a competitive guy. He just wants to compete, you know? I mean, you can't take that out of him.
He got pissed at the last live BP because some guys hit some balls hard. His own teammates. And he wasn't happy about it.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, his start in Frisco, those first 2 San Antonio hitters got hits, and then he went slider.
Yeah, he's like, I'll show you guys.
They didn't get a ball out of the infield.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's there. If you can feel that adrenaline, if you can replicate it, I mean, because it's something. It really is something. It speeds guys up. They lose their mechanics. He admitted that happens to him. He said he gets jumpy, and that's when his command, that's when his fastball goes up. Yep. So maybe, but I think it's a possibility. I really do.
And then we talked about this. Where does that leave Max Scherzer?
And again, you know, we're both kind of acknowledging he's a candidate for the 60-day DL. He's
not
be ready yet.
He's got to be healthy.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to send him out there injured. He's not going to go out there injured.
No.
You know, I've been around a lot of ball players, John, and I don't think anybody understands the body and understands his body better than Max Scherzer understands his.
That's right.
It's amazing to listen to him talk. He gets the whole kinetic chain thing.
Yeah,
he knows the terms.
Very in tune with himself.
He's not a doctor, but he plays one in the clubhouse.
Plays one on TV, yeah.
And, but he's I think he knows. You know, if this hasn't responded yet, he had another injection. Thought it had done the trick, but he couldn't pitch last week. He was supposed to pitch Friday night in Frisco and couldn't post. So you start to wonder if he might be done for the year, and then hopefully not the career, because you want to see a guy who's been on top go out on top.
Yeah.
You know, because you've seen. You know, I always think about Steve Carlton. You know, how many teams did Steve Carlton play for at the end of the year? You know, his career. He came up the Cardinals. You remember the Phillies.
Yeah.
But then like the White Sox and the Indians, it's like, you know, he was just kind of hanging on.
You don't want that. He should be a Philly.
You don't want that for Max Scherzer, and he's never going to be a Ranger, I don't think. When it comes said and done, but you don't want to see him go to a team and not be able to post. You know, and so hopefully, whatever happens with Max, it's for the best for his long term, whether that's continuing or retiring now and going to the Hall of Fame in 5 years.
Yeah, Max is one of those old school guys, and there are plenty of old school guys still around the game of baseball, but get ready for more new school ideas. We've got one coming up next. It's called positionless baseball. Wait, positionless baseball? What's that? We'll let you know here coming up. But first, we want to tell you about Empire Central. What a great place to buy your flooring. This place is awesome. They allow you to shop at home. That shop at home experience is unbelievable. They are quick in their installation and in their decision-making process. How about this? They have the best quality of all the flooring companies out there. They won't even stock some of the crap that the other places will advertise because there are a lot of copycatters out there. You're not going to beat the quality of Empire Central. And I love this. They have a virtual floor design. So take a picture of your home, right? Whatever room you want to have the flooring done in, take a nice wide picture of it, take it to Empire Central, and they will show you exactly what each floor, potential flooring looks like in that room. That's really cool technology. The floor we're sitting on is done by Empire Central. Can we, in the wider shot, do we see that, Elijah? Let's see if we can. Yeah, you see that behind us there? It's beautiful. They did a great job. And, so we want you to go to empiretoday.com/DLLS, empiretoday.com/DLLS, and you could get a $350 discount on your flooring, which is pretty nice under any circumstances.
Yeah.
I've still got the jingle in my head. Call Empire today.
Yeah, that's right.
So, all right.
It's a great. We love to hear you sing.
I don't know if DLS has a jingle. I think our show has DLLS has a jingle. I just say it real fast.
You can make one.
Our show has a little song, right? But I don't know about the merch store, which is store.allcitynetwork.com. We've talked about it every day this week as we try to spread the word. Get some mobile billboards out there, and all of our followers and readers and listeners and whatnot.
And diehards.
Diehards, sure. Anyway, you go to store.allcitynetwork.com. You shop by city, so pretty easy. You put your little hand over it. What's that called?
Cursor.
Whatever. Put it over there. You go down to Dallas, and you have your teams. You have DLS gear, which is all of it. And college, Cowboys, Mavericks, Stars, Wings, and Rangers. I have my cart right now, has 3 items in it.
Okay. What'd you decide on?
Well, the DLLS Fort Worth tee, because I'm going to be helping out on the TCU coverage for a little bit.
Okay.
Then the DLLS Texas Chew tee.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
And the DLLS For the Love of Texas tee, size large. I'm sticking with large, although I'm flirting with the other one. I'm trying to stay with large. But anyway, you go to checkout, boom, bang. I think they start shipping on September 23rd. You can get gift cards. You can just treat yourself. Whatever it is, store.allcitynetwork.com.
Should we get matching shirts?
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe twins for a
uniform
day.
For one day a week or something.
I think it'd be adorable.
We go with
one day a week, that's a lot. But maybe once.
Once?
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to the hats.
We know you're a hat guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
right
hats.
Now I'm rolling with this Hall
Are there
of Fame
DLLS hats out there quite
Not yet?
I haven't seen any yet.
But I'm rolling.
We're going to have them.
I'm rolling with the Hall of Fame hat that I got. I got it the day of Adrian Beltre's induction party the night before because I'd bought a blue suit.
Do you have a Z-Biotic then?
I did not. I needed one. Holy crap, I needed one. But so I bought this hat. So it's kind of my formal attire.
Yeah.
It matched well, and it looked good. I think I was the only one there at the hat.
I love this comment by Carter. He said that our new network has caused him to double his screen time. So thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we are. We're not responsible for it, but we're grateful for it. That's right.
We support your choice.
If it helps, mine is tripled doing all of this.
I bet it has too, yeah. Okay, so what is this new trend in baseball that's called positionless baseball? Now, let's preface it. I mean, I love, actually, positionless basketball. And in the NBA, there's plenty of it.
That's how it flows.
So many guys are 6'9" and athletic and can bring the ball up the floor or can, play a post position. Heck, now you've even got, Victor Wembanyama and you've got Chet Holmgren up in Oklahoma City. These two guys are over 7 feet. And they can, handles, they can bring the ball up the court.
Shoot.
So that, yes, they can drop back and hit the three. So this positionless basketball thing has been a trend there for a little while, and I really like it. I think it's pretty cool there. I'm maybe a little more old school, Jeff. I'm having trouble with it in baseball. The conversation for us kind of begins with the idea that the Pirates have moved, and kind of against his will, they've moved O'Neal Cruz from shortstop to center field. Now, it's a 6'7" guy,
right,
who's made a ton of errors.
Yeah, 24 errors at shortstop,
Yeah.
12 fielding, 12 throwing, second most in the league.
So
cause is there.
They decided. You know what? You have to be strong up the middle. He's a good athlete. Let's put him up the middle. Let's keep him up the middle and move him into center field. But it strikes me that what's happening in baseball these days is so many of these kids are coming up and they all know how to hit, but so many of them don't have a position to play, right? They don't work on that enough, and it's not necessarily their fault. Maybe their coaches too, but you got to give them a position and make sure they can play it, especially if they get to the big league level.
Well, speaking of big shortstops, the Rangers have one in Sebastian Walcott, who is their top prospect. He's playing shortstop. He can play a little third base, but the feeling, the sense is that eventually he's going to be a right fielder or a center fielder. He's fast. He's a really good athlete. But the thought is that at some point he's going to grow out of the position. And the Rangers, I don't know if you're aware of this, have a pretty good shortstop.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah,
and so at some point when it seems like it's coming sooner or later, when Sebastian Walcott is ready for the major leagues, where are you going to stick him?
Yeah.
So at that point, theoretically, Adolis Garcia would become a free agent and right field would be open, but you never know. But this is something that the Rangers are facing. You're drafting, or in this case, you're signing in Latin America. You look at these, who they sign. They sign the guys that get the big money are at premium defensive spots, which are up the middle, and it's usually shortstop, catcher, or center fielder.
Yes.
And so and they're 16 at the time, and so you figure out they'll grow into their position. They'll tell us what it is. But the Rangers are covered at shortstop. They're covered at third base. So, are you going to move Corey Seager to first base or wherever they think Corey Seager should play? I don't know. Corey Seager is doing just fine at shortstop. It was pretty interesting. I had a conversation with Michael Young about Corey Seager at shortstop, and he said, how many times do you see guys go into the hole and do the Jeter throw? You don't see it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Your shortstop, all your defensive players, they need to field the ball that's hit to them, and they need to throw a strike to first base. And Corey Seager does that as well as anybody.
Yeah, he really does.
But Joey Gallo is a guy who came up as a third baseman. Everyone's like, oh, he's too big, and Beltre was hurt. That's how Joey made his major league debut because Beltre had yanked his thumb out of place in 2015. And so Joey comes up as third baseman, but the next year they need a first baseman, and then we need an outfielder, and it turns out that Joey's a
good outfielder,
Gold Glove winning outfielder, big arm, but it's still, you're right. The bat was all anybody talked about with Joey Gallo, and it's what all these prospect experts, Baseball America. I do work for Baseball America, so I love Baseball America, but it's always he's got the hit tool, fast hands. We did a defense, all right.
Yeah. So maybe
if he does it, it's great.
Maybe it's on the organization, right? Maybe my sort of conundrum here goes right to the organization, because look, all these kids, when they get to that level, they were the best player on their team, no matter where they were prior to this. So if they wanted to play shortstop, their coach said, "Sure, you're a shortstop," and so. Maybe the organization needs to do a better job when they get them there and say, oh, man, you are a right fielder of the future, even for Walcott, right? And say, let's just get you out there now. I mean, O'Neal Cruz is going to go into center field having basically never played it.
Yeah.
Right.
How do you, at the major league level, you're going to send a guy out there.
I guess you phone a friend.
Yeah, right. He is gonna call a friend, Fernando Tatis Jr.
It's pretty good.
Right? And you know what? O'Neal Cruz, to his credit, he's expressed the fact that he didn't want to do this. This is not something he wanted to do, but he's on board. His quotes are, "Hey, that's what they've asked me to do. That's what I'm going to go do, and I'm going to just go out there and try to be the best center fielder I can possibly be." And good for him. But it seems crazy to me that we're in this position. Somebody should have recognized sooner, or he should be more versatile, right?
Yeah.
That you don't have a guy going to center field who's never played the position before.
Well, I when you were talking about him, I had the thought, who are the Pirates prospects? And I know that Tamar Johnson was a guy who was drafted the same year as Rocker. And so it's like, okay, where is he? He's more of a second baseman, but he plays shortstop. But I called up Baseball America to look at the top prospects, and 3 of the Pirates' top 10 prospects can play shortstop. So they have help there. Do they have an outfielder? Not really. So maybe it's that. Maybe in a small market like Pittsburgh, you really have to hit on your prospects. You have to maximize the value of those guys. And if maximizing the value of their team is to bring up another quality shortstop, and if it means moving O'Neal Cruz, who at 6'7", is a unicorn out there. You just don't see shortstops
that's the other
big.
thing.
Yeah.
The first time I saw him at shortstop, I thought, I mean, he was a specimen, right? But I'm like, he's too big to play shortstop. Yeah, he's too big to play shortstop. Heck, we even look at Corey Seager and think he's a little too big, right, for the traditional shortstop, but proving otherwise.
Well, and like Ellie De La Cruz is 6'5", the Red shortstop. He's really flirting with being too big, but he's got the arm. He's been doing great at the position. He played some third base last year, but it's just, and Cal Ripken was a huge at the time,
big guy,
and Alex Rodriguez, very big shortstops.
Yep.
And Corey Seager, when you see him on TV, you're like, he's not that big. When you stand next to him,
Corey
Seager is
big.
His calves are about this big.
Yeah.
They're like cantaloupes hanging below his knee. And so he is a big guy, but with defensive positioning, things like that, it helps him out. But again, last year he had just a solid season. And back to the Michael Young conversation, he said, if somebody hits a ground ball to a Rangers infielder and you have to make a throw to first base, who do you want catching that ball? And he said Corey Seager. You want Corey Seager throwing that ball to first base.
Undoubtedly. Did you know that Seager is as tall as Heim and low?
We've got he and Heim are like next to each other in the locker. I haven't
Are they the same height?
I
think. Well, and that's because Corey's thicker. Because Heim looks taller. Just if you're kind of looking at the two.
No, we've got like 8 players that are all the same height. It's kind of hilarious.
That's great.
Large team.
That's really good. So anyway, that's a few thoughts about getting these guys into the correct position, and good on O'Neal Cruz for accepting this position change as he is doing. But at this point, we're going to get ready to talk more about the big picture in this league that in the postseason likely won't include much of the Rangers. But Abs, tell us a little bit more about what a diehard is.
Well, I think we're all diehards in our own way. I mean, we're getting paid to talk about the Rangers 52 weeks a year, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I consider us a diehard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you should consider becoming a diehard, because you can join our fandom here at DLLS and tap in. Jeff's going to have some pretty exclusive interviews and content elements, writing pieces. All of our pages, we cover the Cowboys, the Mavericks, the Rangers, the Stars. We're going to cover TCU soon. We've got a lot in the works and a lot going on already. Die Hard, when you join, you can be an exclusive member, get exclusive content. You get a free shirt when you join. So that's, if you do the math, it's like paying for the membership half itself.
Right, pretty much.
We're going to do really fun events. I was talking to DNVR Rockies. They said they did something in London last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. There was I think there was a Broncos
game in London.
They had a tour with their whole group.
Yeah.
And they sold it out, and the whole group flew over there and had a tailgate party in London to watch a Broncos game. That kind of stuff is so cool. Those are the kind of events eventually that we're going to stage here.
When Yu Darvish was with the Rangers.
Yes. So there was always going to be a Tokyo game.
There was going to be a Tokyo game. There really was. And then I swear, I have this on good authority. I'll say the authority. It's John Daniels. We're talking about authority. It.
Yeah.
It was over beers. So I don't write when I have a beer in front of me. But he was like, yeah, we were on the Japan list until Darvish got hurt. So, God dang it. Now, the thing that you do, if you're the home team, you're sacrificing a home game. So that's why it's always the A's, because the A's are going to
they'll make more money in Japan. Yeah.
So they're going to have a banner gate day.
That's funny.
But anyway, the players get thrown some money. You have to report to spring training earlier. You come back and you still have to go through some spring training games. But
hey, you get to do something pretty fun.
The Dodgers opened in Korea this year. I mean, and so anyway, there are opportunities like that for hopefully. Yeah, you went to Tokyo with the Cowboys.
I did.
They seem to play in Mexico City. It seems like every once.
I said a trip to Slovenia for Luka.
Hey, let's
anyway,
get our maps
lots of options there. Go to DLLS.com and become a diehard today, and like and subscribe your favorite podcast.
Yes, and one of the
We're
things,
your favorite podcast. Just to let you guys know.
This is us, yeah. One of the things that Abby mentioned in there was the fact that you can get a free shirt if you sign up as one of our diehards, and you've got to know all about these shirts. There you go, ALLCITYNetwork.com. That's our store, store.allcitynetwork.com. And I've looked too, Jeff. In my cart, I've got the Claw and Fight shirt.
Okay.
I like that Claw and Fight shirt. I got to admit, I like the Texas Chew shirt too. But then my third favorite, and we can't wear it yet because it's still 140 degrees outside. But here pretty soon we'll be able to wear hoodies.
I do like a hoodie.
And I love me a hoodie.
Me
and
too.
that DLLS Nux. Now, you're not that familiar with him yet, but is Nux back there? Where is Nux? Nux is our mascot. I thought he was on this wall behind us, but I don't see him. But anyway, he's our mascot. And so for DLLS and for All City. So, get your DLLS Nux tie-dye hoodie. They're really inexpensive. They're great quality items. It's
Comfy
available
as
now.
well.
So if you go to the DLLS page or you go to store.allcitynetwork.com and click on the Dallas one, you'll see the DLLS Nux tie-dye sweatshirt. Not easy to say, but it'll be easy to wear. It'll be a lot of fun to wear. Get your merch from all of us at DLLS now.
I might have to get my family members some Denver, some DNVR
because
they're up there, and need to get them to start supporting the company, the home team here, to help pay the bills here down in Texas. So
that's right.
Yeah,
and that's one of the ways we as a company, it's one of the revenue streams. All companies have these revenue streams. Merchandise is definitely one of them for us. So we appreciate you contributing in that way too. And then, you're looking cool out there in the streets. Right.
How cool would it be if we ran into somebody wearing a DLL shirt on the street?
Yeah.
I would be like, can I take a photo with you?
Right.
They'd be like, who are you? Get away.
Well, what we need to do is when the Rangers play, let's say the Dodgers next year in London, and we see somebody there with a DLLS shirt. That's what we're looking at.
Or the tattoo. I'm waiting for the tattoo.
Oh, the tattoo.
So that'd be a ultimate diehard. But it's possible.
We're going to challenge you, please.
Natalie, she's been very inquisitive, and her questions have been really, really good.
Yes.
She just asked, what do you think the Rangers are going to do with Dylan Dreiling long term in terms of a position? Dylan Dreiling was the Rangers' second round pick from Tennessee, won a national championship. He was the Vols cleanup hitter. All right, so this guy can hit a little bit. He's in the Hickory with Malcolm Moore, the first rounder. I think it's probably too early to say. I know he's an advanced college hitter, but I think that he's probably going to stick in the outfield until he shows otherwise. Until something else happens to him. But the third rounder from North Carolina, Cook, he's the one you got to watch because he was an outfielder this last season for the Tar Heels, but in fall ball he had played second base, and the Rangers are letting him play in the infield right now. He's at down east, so he's the guy who's kind of a tweener on positions, but he can hit. He hits velo real well. So that's the position guy you got to watch, and Malcolm Moore, the catcher. I know the knock on him coming into the draft was he can't catch. I had Kip Fagg on my podcast, the Rangers Today baseball podcast, and I asked him that question. He says, "Who's saying this?" Kip.
Who's they?
Kip. He's bigger than life and funny, and he wasn't mad, but he's like, "Who's saying this?" And I'm like, "Well,
they are. They
all
are.
the usual suspects." And he's like, "That's not. We wouldn't have drafted him if we didn't think he could catch." So he's in Hickory as well. I don't know if he'll make it to Frisco or not. I think there's maybe a chance. I know he got off to a little bit of a slow start, but I think last week he hit his first professional home run. So, kind of let them play out this season. Let them go to, if they're going to go to Instructs, let them go to Instructs, and maybe that's where they start to say, all right, let's start working on this, or why don't you go over there and try first base.
And by the way, the Rangers have one of the best catching coaches in the game today, and Bobby Wilson.
Bobby Wilson's very good.
This guy's really a great catching coach.
Well, look at the last two Gold Glove winners in the American League.
Yeah,
Jose Trevino and Jonah Heim. Yeah. So obviously Trevino won it with the Yankees, but it was after doing all this grooming with the Rangers and working exclusively with Bobby Wilson.
Sowing the seed.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll talk prospects anytime. I really like the prospects talk. And you're not going to get a bunch of technical shit from me like, oh yeah, his swing, he's got a whippy bat, or look at his arm whip, or whatever. I don't know that. I just know what people tell me and what I see, and you're not going to get. I don't want to get down in the weeds like that.
That's the exclusive content here at DLLS Rangers podcast.
Rangers Today, I covered the minors better than anybody else. I'm not afraid to say it. Humble brag, I guess. I don't know. I don't like to brag.
You don't even have to be humble.
We covered,
do you want a medal?
Out of the minors.
Yeah, we
want a medal for it.
No. I mean, you can make me one. All right.
All right, we'll make you. We'll forge you a medal. This is forged by God. We want to talk a little bit about the postseason and some of the the races that we can watch down the stretch. What's interesting to me right now is the fact that they've expanded the playoffs now.
Yeah.
That 12 teams make the playoffs, and amazingly, I think if you look at it, the 6 in each league are pretty well set. Now, there's still a race for the division in the American League Central. There's still a race for the division in the National League West. But other than that, I pretty much think we've got our playoff teams set right now.
Let me give a rundown of the standings.
Okay.
We'll go AL East Yankees, Central Guardians, West Astros, NL East Phillies, Central Brewers, West Dodgers.
I think the Guardians and Royals are tied, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Guardians and Royals are tied atop the Central Division, and basically, I think Minnesota makes the playoffs from that division too, because the Twins are right there, right?
And
I think you get 3 from the American League Central,
and they're still going to play each other. That's the cool thing right now is the Royals and Guardians are playing each other.
Mm-hmm.
I know that the Twins go to Kansas City one more time, so that's the way it should be settled. In the division. Next year's Rangers schedule, if you look at it, if you believe in playing in the division down the stretch, it's going to drive you crazy. The Rangers close at Cleveland next year.
Drives me crazy this year.
I think they play the Marlins like in late on the last road trip. It's ridiculous, but you're right. I kind of looked at the NL East because the Braves are injury laden.
They're hurt. Yeah, they're hurt.
The Mets aren't that far behind them, and the Mets have been hot and cold but they have Lindor, who's very, very good.
Yeah,
who's MVP candidate.
Braves are third with wild card, and Mets just below him.
Yeah, but then the West, you look at you look at the Padres who've played well and have, if you get the Padres into the postseason, they can shorten a game. That bullpen is dynamite, and you don't have to get but a few innings out of your starter, honestly. And that's the trend of baseball. I do think that whoever wins the West, looking like the Astros for the 8th straight year, I think they're one and done. I just don't think that they may win the wild card round because they'll get the 6th seed. But if the 6th seed is the Twins, it's going to be tough. If it's one of those Central teams, it's going to be real tough. So, but yeah, Yankees Orioles is real tight. But that they've separated themselves from the Red Sox. So that Central is kind of fun. Nobody expected the Guardians to be worth a darn, and I think people were excited about the Royals maybe being better.
Not this much better.
And you knew the Twins were going to be good, but Twins have the great bullpen.
Yeah.
The Royals have, if not for Aaron Judge, everybody would be talking about Bobby Witt Jr. as the best player in the American League. Probably the best all-around player. I'll go out on a limb and say that.
Yeah.
I mean, just he has the 5 tools. Not that Aaron Judge doesn't, but I would take Bobby Witt's defense at shortstop over Aaron Judge's defense in center field. So anyway, apples to apples maybe, but should be exciting in the Central. That's going to be a good race.
It is pretty amazing to think that at the beginning of the year, I believe we all would have thought it was the American League West that was going to have 3 teams, right?
Yeah.
Seattle, Houston, and the Texas Rangers.
Right. Yeah, that's
not the Central,
Yeah, right.
And like you say, the West is going to have one team, and they're probably not going to go far.
Yeah, and then in the NL Central, everybody thought it would be the Cubs, and they're second. The Brewers lose their manager to the Cubs, and here they are running away with that one. So that's a good story in Milwaukee. They have a real high floor, but they don't seem to be able to punch through the ceiling. And I think teams that rely on platoon players, they have to be ahead. They have to be able to beat you with their bullpen. And Milwaukee has a great bullpen, but are they going to be able to score, especially with Chris Yelich hurt and out for the year with the back surgery? So they'll have their hands full with whoever they play in the postseason.
Yeah. So that's a look at some of the playoff situation as it's developing right now. And, of course, over the course of our time here on the DLLS Rangers podcast, we will be bringing you our thoughts about the MVP race and the Cy Young race and some of those other races that are always fun to look at and keep you pretty interested during the home stretch of a baseball season. So that's all coming up. We just really thank you for being a part of the program today. Please tell your friends about us. Please like us. Please subscribe. That would really, really help us if you would subscribe to the podcast and just subscribe to the whole DLLS Sports Network. I mean, that's just it's a really fun place to be. Believe me, we're in here when the Cowboys crew is talking. They're screaming and yelling and having fun with each other. Yeah, and then the Mavs and my good friend Craig Ludwig with Owen Newkirk is on the Stars show. So we really got something going here. We're really proud of it, and we want you to be proud too, and we want you to be with us each and every step of the way. So cool
Rangers
day
are
tomorrow.
Playing too.
Yeah, they play today. They play 2 today, and we have a cool day tomorrow. It's our first pre and post game show tomorrow. Pre,
Can't wait.
1:00. Post, whenever the game ends. So, yes, it's going to be.
We're gonna have
really
a lot
fun.
to talk about.
Hopefully, the game ends at 3:40. 2-hour and 10-minute game. That's what I'm pulling for.
All right.
Now realize.
I just jinx this?
Yeah.
I don't think, even now the jinx, you can't really jinx anymore. A jinx is 240. And I'll take 240 every day of the week.
And then, but the problem is, I'm not going to say it. Okay. I'm not going to say where you might have jinxed
Jack
us.
Leiter's stat line in the chat. We can pull it up tomorrow.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
5 innings, 3 runs. That's my prediction.
Yeah. Be fine. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That does it for today. We're so grateful to you. We're having fun here. We hope you're having fun watching. And we will be back again tomorrow twice with a pregame show at 1:00 and a postgame show after the Rangers finale with the Chicago White Sox. We will see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.